Okay, I think we're going to get started because it is just past 8 o'clock now. So for anyone who couldn't log on live, I will be recording this so that you can watch later. So I just wanted to do a short session kind of debunking some of the like myths around carbs, if you like. So I think we've kind of over the years, we've really had it kind of ingrained into us that the carbs are like the enemy and like all carbs are evil, carbs will make you fat, kind of loaded with calories, and that low carb diets are basically the way forward if we want to lose weight. So I just wanted to kind of debunk that myth a little bit. So yeah, some diets have said kind of cut them out completely, and others kind of demonize them as like really like the root cause of your weight gain. So today I just want to clarify a little bit what carbs are, why they're important, how our bodies like use them, why they need them, and how to choose them wisely. Like I suppose good carbs versus bad, although I don't really like to label certain foods as good or bad because, you know, if you've been working with me for a while, you'll know that my motto very much is like everything in a bit of moderation. So you don't have to only have like the good carbs all of the time and never have the bad ones. So yeah, carbs make you gain weight is a really frequent myth that we've kind of heard within the kind of fitness and wellness space. But actually, extreme restriction of carbs can lead to very low energy. It can lead to kind of fatigue, and it can really actually push you towards more sort of binge eating behaviors and also impair your workout performance as well. So in the long run, cutting out any food groups is not great and can lead to sort of unsustainable eating habits and really just like nutritional deficiencies as well. So carbs are absolutely not. Oh, hello, Joanna.
Sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
That's all right. I got started because it had gone past 8 o'clock, so I just thought I'd like, but I've just done a very brief info. So
I'm
intro.
sorry, I'm late. Sorry.
No worries. So I'm just talking about how basically carbs aren't the enemy and why our bodies kind of need them, and that actually cutting them out can lead to sort of fatigue and low energy and actually push you towards like binge eating and all those things that we don't want to do. And in the long run, it's just not sustainable and it can lead to kind of nutrient deficiencies, basically. So cutting out any food group is never really a good idea. And the fact that carbs kind of like carbs make you gain weight, basically, is sort of complete misinformation. So I was just going to talk a bit briefly about what carbs are and why they are important. So if you're kind of relatively new on your fitness journey, you might have never heard the term macros before, or you might just be starting to kind of hear it now. So all macro means is macronutrient, and carbs are one of the three macronutrients along with protein and fat. And very simply, carbs are basically sugars and starches and fiber that are found in various food, and they are the body's primary source of energy. So the brain relies really heavily on glucose to function properly, and our muscles store carbs as glycogen, and then that's what kind of fuels you during your workouts. And it has actually been reported that athletes have reported like reduced endurance and performance when they've been on really low carb diets. So you do actually need it. You do actually need carbs if you're going to perform well in your workouts. So they help you with your actual workouts, and then they help you replenish those glycogen stores after your workout and also help aid recovery. And when sort of balanced properly with fiber and protein and fats, they actually help maintain a very like a steady blood glucose level. And it also, I think most people do understand now that fiber, which is sort of just one part of a carbohydrate, actually aids digestion, helps you feel fuller for longer, and just helps maintain sort of a healthy gut as well. I think gut health, thankfully, has become quite a hot topic, and people are aware that gut health is kind of can be a key factor in your kind of overall health and well-being as well, and is a really important part of your kind of overall wellness. So basically, consistent quality carb intake can just help maintain stable energy throughout the day. And obviously, when you're not kind of like sort of riding the waves up and down of kind of energy, your mood is also going to be more stable as well. So you're not going to get that kind of hangry feeling that you get when you basically you need sugar, you need something, and that's why you end up craving it. So basically carbs fuel your body and your brain throughout the day, and they support you sort of in your everyday tasks and also during your workouts. So cutting them out completely in the long term is going to do more harm than good, especially at this stage of life where we really do need, a nice balanced diet, and we don't need to be suffering the effects of like hunger, if you like, because when we're already like sometimes on the edge of our nerves and I'm just teetering on that kind of like seesaw between like I'm in a good mood and I'm like completely like feeling just like white hot rage. Um, so if we just have a look at, like I said, I don't really like to talk about like good food and bad food, but there are some carbs that are kind of better than others, basically. So you've got complex carbs, which are found in whole grains, so like brown rice, oats, whole wheat bread, and legumes, which are like beans and lentils, and vegetables. So they typically contain more fiber, more vitamins, more minerals, and you just digest them slowly. So you get a kind of longer, slower release of energy rather than those kind of spikes and crashes that we can get sometimes when we eat more refined or simple carbs. So simple carbs are found in sugar, basically refined grains, which have kind of had the fiber and the like husks stripped away. And sugary drinks. They are also found in fruit as well. But the thing is, when you eat whole fruit, you are getting other sort of nutrients along with the sugars. So they are a bit, if you you're better basically to have, if you like to have fruit juice in the morning, a really simple would be just to have whole fruit instead. So one simple thing I do, for example, is we love orange juice in our family. I love orange juice as well, like fresh orange juice, Tropicana. But what I try and do instead is we just have whole oranges and we cut up like whole oranges, and it's just really simple things like that you can do. And simple carbs as well are basically they're the guilty ones who cause your like sugar spikes and then your crashes. So you will get a quick burst of energy from perhaps like your biscuits or your cake or your chocolates or even like a glass of fruit juice, but then you will most likely feel a kind of crash afterwards, and then you will just start having those cravings will like kick back in again. So like whole foods as well, and kind of complex carbs obviously have more like better nutrient density and better fiber content. And this means you get more sort of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. And then fiber also slows sugar absorption, so that helps stabilize your blood sugar, helps you feel fuller for longer, and really just, like I said, gives you that kind of sustained energy as opposed to simple carbs, which will give you the spikes, which the lady on Instagram who's been getting quite a lot of press at the moment, the glucose goddess, has kind of talked about, and she provides some kind of hacks to get around that. And she's the one that advocates, although I am quite a fan of a sweet breakfast as well. I think kind of Greek yogurt and granola and honey and seeds and whole fruit is great. She promotes, however, just always having a savoury breakfast as opposed to like a kind of sweeter breakfast, as one way that you can really help control your blood sugar and control those cravings later in the day. So some quick examples of kind of better or good carbs, if you like, to include would be oatmeal, quinoa is a great one, brown rice or wild rice instead of white rice. So what I do sometimes as well, like my kids like white rice, and we did used to eat a lot of white rice, but you could also mix two things together. So you could try, as opposed to just having some of the other grains, which sometimes are a little bit heavier and a little bit denser, like pearl barley, you could kind of mix maybe that with white rice. You could mix white rice with wild rice, or have a mix of white and brown rice together. Your starchy vegetables are also great. So like sweet potato, squash, green peas are actually classed as a starchy veg. And obviously we have them like a lot in the UK. Frozen are also fine. You've got things like yams and celeriac, carrots, parsnips, turnips, which we can kind of find in abundance here. So a good one you can try is like celeriac mash is quite good. Personally, I really struggle to get on with squashes and sweet potatoes. So I tend to use them in things like soups instead. I've tried several times to introduce sweet potato to my family menu with no success, but you can also make them into a soup as well. And that sometimes makes it a bit more palatable. So whole fruits, like I said, maybe if you're a fan of fruit juice, don't just not have it, but just have it perhaps along with your kind of savoury, high protein breakfast that also has like some whole grains in it, some whole wheat toast, some eggs, fruit juice if you are going to have it. Or whole fruits are always preferable. So you've got berries, apples, bananas, and then they have all those other nutrients included as well, rather than fruit juice, which does tend to just be more like a kind of hit of sugar. Legumes are also great. So like beans, lentils, chickpeas. And what I've started doing as well with them, especially when we move into the summer months, you can just kind of bulk out salads with them. So I think I definitely used to tend to think very much, and how I grew up was, you have your meat, your potatoes and your veg. But I think if you think about structuring your meal in a bit of a different way, sort of lots of little bits all mixed together, like in a bowl, you could have like salad leaves with chickpeas, with some grains, with a little bit of protein, with some other vegetables, all sort of mixed together, rather than just like kind of set out on your plate like meat and two veg, as we typically used to do it in the UK. So overall, what you want to just really be aiming for is to keep those kind of highly processed, highly refined carbohydrates to a minimum, and just look to sort of use those fiber-rich carbs most of the time. And these are just going to help sort of maintain steady energy, like a steady energy levels. They're going to support your weight management, because they're going to help you keep those cravings at bay. Like, you won't be riding that wave of like blood sugar spikes. And they're also going to help you like maximize your nutrient intake from every single meal. So we don't want to like overly restrict, like I said. So it's really all about appropriate portion control as well, and just balancing them on your plate. So we don't want to eliminate them like completely. We don't want to avoid them completely, because like I've said, that can kind of harm your energy levels, also your mood, and also limit the amount of nutrients that you're actually getting. And it can also trigger those cravings later on. So I think I've already talked a little bit about the palm size portion guide for protein. So for your protein, you're looking at like at least three palm size portions a day. So I know for some of you, I've already entered like macro and calorie targets as a guide in at the moment, mostly in Everfit. But I think if we just think about the hand portion sizing method, you naturally will stay within those limits on your plate. So for carbs, it's basically like a cupped hand is one portion of carbs. So you really just want one portion per meal, and that's it. And if you are looking to lose a little bit of weight, you just sort of want to err on the smaller side, basically, with your portions, and just really bulk out like half of your plate with your like veggies and fruit, then a very small portion of carbs, either like a cupped hand, or probably like visually on the plate, more like a kind of quarter of the plate if you are looking to lose a little bit of weight, maybe up to like a third if you're just maintaining, and then the other third would be your protein. If you're really super active, you could increase that. And like I said, so just make sure that you include vegetables to really make up a really large component of your meal, to increase the overall volume that you're eating, and that will just aid how satisfied you feel, and like max out the amount of nutrients you're getting. So protein is also good. It's also really important to have those balanced meals and include the proteins and fats with the carbs, because what the proteins and fats do is they actually help they also help slow the digestion of the carbs as well. So again, if you're balancing your plate with your carbs, your proteins, your fats, all your macros basically in the right way, you are going to avoid or help sort of limit those sort of spikes and troughs, basically. So I think we, again, in a lot of some of the kind of material that I've provided you guys already, like the cheat sheets and the holistic weight loss guide, which I think you probably downloaded it if you were with me on the 14-day challenge. You've already got like a sort of guide to how to put together a healthy plate. So you're going to have your protein, your complex carbs, your veggies, and your healthy fats. And that is just going to help you stay kind of satisfied throughout the day and maintain your energy levels. And sort of hopefully as a byproduct of that, help maintain a good mood as well. And in terms of your workouts as well, so you can have, so like 30 minutes to 90 minutes before a workout, it can be good to actually have like time your snack, whether it's like mid-afternoon or mid-morning, time that snack to fall. Like, I personally wouldn't do 30 minutes. I would go more towards like an hour and a half before your workout. And a little small portion of really easily digestible carbs is going to be great then to support you and help kind of fuel your session. And similarly, post-workout, you can look to replenish your kind of glycogen stores with another little snack that's like something maybe like some oatmeal or some like porridge, some bananas, great, a piece of whole wheat toast. Just something that has like a little bit of carbs and a bit of protein. That is also great kind of within an hour after training to help you recover. So really the main takeaway is as always, focus on balance. You want all your macros in there, your carbs, your protein, your healthy fats, and they are really going to help you manage your energy and hunger effectively, as opposed to trying to really, really strictly limit or cut out carbs completely, which is maybe an approach that is sort of you've tried in the past. Perhaps I think a lot of us have tried. I know I've tried sort of quite drastically reducing carbs myself in the past, and you do just end up sometimes feeling like almost like quite lightheaded and not great. So in terms of when you're shopping, you want to really be looking for things that are 100% whole grain or whole wheat as like the first ingredient, and then just check as well for like added sugars. So you want to be looking out for things like dextrose, fructose, maltose, and syrup. And then maybe compare the fiber content on some of your favorite foods and see which ones are higher. So if it's got a higher fiber content, that is just going to immediately suggest that it's not been stripped of all its sort of overly refined or stripped of all its nutrients. So some really simple swaps that you can try are white to brown rice or wild rice, I actually prefer. We also like barley, so pearl barley in this house is quite a good one. It's a bit denser than rice, a bit chewier, but it's great kind of as a rice substitute, or like I said, kind of added to salads to kind of bulk up like a winter salad or even a summer salad, just to add a bit more texture. Swap your white pasta to your whole wheat or legume-based pasta is good. You can get a really good selection in the shops now. I've seen like lentil pasta, chickpea pasta, so you can give that a go. Or again, you could even, like, if you get a bit of resistance within your family, you could even try like mixing the two, or perhaps you might end up just doing yourself a side of like whole wheat pasta while the kids have white pasta. It's just at least you can have the same sauce, you can have the same thing along with it if they're really resistant to it. You can swap out your sugary breakfast cereals. So breakfast cereals are a really big culprit of being like quite high in sugar and just not great all around. So the best ones personally that I've found are and they're still not like great. I still wouldn't advocate just having like an enormous bowl of them for breakfast. So the whole wheat Cheerios seem to be one of the like least sort of offensive ones and sort of better ones. What else do we eat? We have like Weetabix are good, so you can have Weetabix and you can have that. But again, I would still add things to it like some yogurt and some fresh berries, not just have an enormous bowl of that. So your sugary breakfast cereals are a real sort of big culprit. So you can switch them to either a better one, just look and compare, actually compare the boxes. You don't have to do this every time. Like once you've found some that you like, you will know, or you can switch them out to oats, or you can do things like chia pudding, which you guys have definitely got recipes for in some of the resources that I've given you. And then obviously swap your sugary snacks if you are a kind of partial to a kind of 3 p.m. biscuit or a bit of cake. Again, don't never have it. Maybe limit it to like a once a week thing. Or just make sure you have a piece of fruit beforehand. So you have an apple and one biscuit instead of like 5 biscuits and that's it. Or you have, some dried fruit and nuts and a small piece of cake as opposed to like a giant piece of cake. And again, you're satisfying your kind of desire for that kind of food, not cutting it out completely, not denying yourself completely, but you're getting more nutrients first from something else, which is a bit better for you, as well as filling yourself up so you don't then overindulge on the thing that's higher in sugar. And then that is going to stop it. Also, it's going to help in your system. It's going to help lower the potential spike that the higher sugar food item that you've consumed has on it. So eat the healthy thing first and have a smaller portion of the slightly naughtier thing afterwards, or just limit it to once a week. So what I'm going to do is I've done like a little kind of meal plan for you guys, and I've done like a little sort of cheat sheet with some more information on like other like healthy swaps that you can make. So I will share that with you after this as well. So that is really it. It is just, reinforcing the message that carbs aren't all bad. You just need to be like aware of what you're consuming and go for the unrefined options when you can. And just sort of find what works for you. And also, you sometimes need to kind of experiment a little bit, with the kind of with the balance, see what works for you, see how you feel. With kind of like, how it looks on your plate. You might need slightly more than a little cupped fistful. You might be fine with that. You might have like 3 to 4 a day. You might sort of perform and feel better with just 2 portions a day, perhaps you have them for lunch and dinner or breakfast and dinner. It's just about finding what works for you, and just keeping that balance in mind. So yeah, that is really it for today. If anyone has got any questions or feedback, I will stay on for a few minutes. I'm definitely interested to hear if any of you have tried like a low carb diet, and how you found it, basically. Go.